St. Catherine's Medical Center. Dr. James Mitchell vanishes October 1993. The official story. He abandoned his wife and 2-year-old daughter and fled. The police filed a missing person report. The case went cold. The only witness to what really happened is a man in a hospital bed. Room 347. Silent, sedated, forgotten. For 30 years, the hospital becomes a revolving door of nurses who all accept one strange rule. Don't ask questions about the East Wing patient. Don't look too deeply into his records. Just keep him alive. He's listed as John Doe. No family, no visitors, no history. Just a body on a ventilator with a feeding tube and monitors that beep in the darkness. The nurses call him the vegetable in 347. They take turns with the assignment because it comes with a $500 monthly bonus. The hospital calls it hazard pay for working the depressing isolated wing. Nobody questions it. Nobody investigates. Nobody cares. Then, in October 2023, came Maya Torres. She was just another new graduate nurse, 27 years old, desperate for her first real job out of nursing school. The night shift position at St. Catherine's seemed perfect. Good pay, prestigious hospital, benefits. But Maya was different. She didn't take things at face value. And after 3 nights of caring for the patient in room 347, she knew something was wrong, even if it meant risking everything to find out what. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. If you're comfortable, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. Now let me tell you my story. The East Wing was old, dim lighting, peeling paint, 3 patient rooms that were rarely used. The hospital kept it open for overflow, but overflow rarely happened. Room 347 was at the end of the hall, isolated, quiet. The patient inside had been there longer than any of the staff could remember. Maya stood outside the door on her 3rd night shift, reading the chart. It was thin, unnaturally thin. Most long-term patients had charts 3 inches thick, medical history, diagnoses, treatment plans, family contact information, insurance documents. This chart had none of that, just maintenance notes. Patient stable, vitals monitored, feeding tube maintained, no change. The same note, over and over. For 30 years. Maya pushed open the door. The room was dark except for the glow of monitors. A man lay in the bed. Ventilator, feeding tube, IV lines, catheter. The full setup for someone in a persistent vegetative state. But something felt wrong. Maya had done her clinical rotations in long-term care. She'd seen coma patients. They deteriorated, muscle atrophy, bed sores, skin breakdown. Even with the best care, the body gave up after years of immobility. This man looked preserved. His skin had color. His muscle tone was better than it should be. His hair was gray but thick. His face was peaceful, like he was sleeping, not trapped in a vegetative state. Maya checked his vitals. Blood pressure 120/80, heart rate 65. Oxygen saturation 98%. Temperature 98.6. Perfect. Too perfect. She looked at the IV bag. Saline, nutrients, and something else, a medication she didn't recognize. She wrote down the name to look up later. Then she noticed his wrist. 2 hospital bracelets, one on top of the other. The top one was new, white plastic. It said John Doe, patient ID 74709, admitted October 1993. Maya touched the bracelet, felt the edge of another one underneath. She shouldn't look. It wasn't her business. She was supposed to check vitals, document, and move on. But Maya had never been good at minding her own business. She glanced at the door. The hallway was empty. She carefully lifted the edge of the top bracelet. Underneath was another, older, yellowed with age. She could see partial letters, MIXI, MD, STA. Her heart started pounding. MD, medical doctor. This wasn't a patient bracelet. This was a staff bracelet. Maya let go of the bracelet like it burned her. She stepped back, looked at the man in the bed, looked at the monitors, looked at the door. Who was this man? Why did he have a staff bracelet under a patient bracelet? Why had he been here for 30 years with no diagnosis, no history, no family? Maya finished her shift in a daze. She documented vitals. She moved on to other patients, but her mind kept going back to room 347. At 6 o'clock in the morning, she clocked out. Patricia Green, the day shift head nurse, was clocking in. Patricia was 58, had been at St. Catherine's for 35 years, and had the look of someone who had seen everything and was tired of all of it. "Morning, Maya," Patricia said, barely looking up from her coffee. "How was the East Wing?" "Fine," Maya said. "Patricia, can I ask you something about room 347? Patricia's hand paused halfway to her mouth, just for a second. Then she took a sip of coffee. "What about it?" "Who is he?" Maya asked. "The chart doesn't have any information. No diagnosis, no history, just maintenance notes." Patricia set down her coffee. "He's a John Doe, been here since before I started. Coma patient, no family. Hospital keeps him alive because, well, that's what hospitals do. But who pays for his care?" Maya pressed. 30 years of round-the-clock care costs millions. "Anonymous donor," Patricia said. "Some kind of charitable fund. It's handled by administration. Not our concern. Doesn't that seem strange?" Patricia looked at Maya for a long moment. "Maya, you're new, so let me give you some advice. The East Wing assignment is easy money. 500 extra a month for watching one patient who never codes, never complains, never needs anything but basic maintenance. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth." "I'm just curious," Maya started. "Curiosity doesn't pay student loans," Patricia interrupted. "Do your job. Collect your paycheck. Don't ask questions nobody wants to answer." She walked away. Maya stood in the break room, alone. Patricia's reaction wasn't just dismissive. It was defensive, like she was protecting something. Maya pulled out her phone. She typed in the medication name she'd seen on the IV bag. Propofol. She knew that name. It was a sedative, used for anesthesia during surgery, not for long-term care. Never for long-term care. Propofol was for keeping people unconscious during procedures, not for 30 years. Not for a coma patient who was supposed to be in a vegetative state. Maya's stomach dropped. Someone was keeping that man sedated. On purpose. For 3 decades, she needed to know who he was. Maya didn't sleep that day. She lay in bed in her apartment, staring at the ceiling, thinking about room 347. Her boyfriend Marcos came over after his shift at the fire station. He was 29, an EMT, with kind eyes and a terrible habit of trying to fix all of Maya's problems. "You look exhausted," he said, kissing her forehead. "Rough night? Something's wrong at the hospital," Maya said. She told him about the patient, the bracelets, the propofol. Marcos frowned. "That's weird. But Maya, maybe there's an explanation. Maybe he has a condition that requires sedation." "For 30 years, Maya said. "That's not a thing. That doesn't happen. So what are you going to do?" he asked. "I'm going to find out who he is." "How?" Maya sat up. The bracelet under his patient band said MITC and MD. Medical doctor. If he was a doctor at St. Catherine's, there should be records. Old employee files. Something. "Maya, be careful," Marcos warned. "If something shady is going on, you don't want to get caught in the middle of it." "Someone is being kept prisoner," Maya said. "I have to do something." Marcos sighed. He knew better than to argue with her when she got like this. "Okay, just promise me you'll be smart about it." "I promise," Maya lied. The next night, Maya came in early. 6 o'clock in the evening instead of her usual 7 o'clock start. The hospital library was in the basement. Old records, archived files. Nobody used it anymore. Everything was digital now, except the really old stuff. The stuff from the 1990s. That was still on paper. In boxes. In the basement. Maya signed in at the library desk. The librarian, an elderly woman named Mrs. Chen, barely looked up, looking for something specific. "Old employee records," Maya said. "From the 90s, for a research project." Mrs. Chen pointed to the back room. "Personnel files are in the locked cabinet. You'll need authorization from HR." "Oh, okay, thanks," Maya waited until Mrs. Chen got distracted by a phone call. Then she slipped into the back room. The locked cabinet wasn't actually locked. The lock was broken. She opened it. Boxes of files, organized by decade. She found the 1990s box and pulled it out. Sat on the floor. Started flipping through. Doctors, nurses, administrators, all listed alphabetically. She got to the M section. Martin, Matthews, McKinney, and then Mitchell, James. Maya pulled the file. Opened it. Inside was a photo. A black man, early 30s, wearing scrubs and a white coat, smiling, confident, handsome. Next to the photo was his employment record. Dr. James Mitchell, neurosurgeon, hired June 1991. Last day of employment, October 15, 1993. Reason for termination, abandoned position. Maya stared at the photo. Then she thought about the man in room 347, 30 years older. Gray hair instead of black, but the bone structure was the same. The shape of his face, the scar on his hand visible in the photo. She pulled out her phone, took pictures of everything in the file. Employment dates, address, emergency contact, Elena Mitchell, wife. Then she put the file back, closed the cabinet, left the library. Mrs. Chen never looked up. Maya went straight to the hospital computer lab. She wasn't supposed to access old records, but her badge worked. She logged in, searched for James Mitchell. Nothing. She searched October 1993 and missing person. A news article popped up from the local paper, archived on microfilm but digitized. Asterisk, asterisk, prominent surgeon disappears. Asterisk, 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 Dr. James Mitchell, 32. A neurosurgeon at St. Catherine's Medical Center, was reported missing by his wife Elena Mitchell on October 16, 1993. Mitchell was last seen leaving the hospital on October 15. His car was found at the downtown bus station. Police are investigating but suspect he left voluntarily. Anyone with information is asked to contact the police department. Asterisk. Maya read it 3 times. Left voluntarily. His car at the bus station. Police closed the case. But if he left voluntarily, why was he in a hospital bed, sedated, for 30 years? Unless he didn't leave. Unless someone wanted it to look like he left. Maya needed to talk to his wife. Elena Mitchell still lived at the same address listed in James's personnel file. Maya found it easily. A small house in a neighborhood 20 minutes from the hospital. She drove there on her day off. Parked across the street. Stared at the house. What was she going to say? Hi, I think your husband who disappeared 30 years ago is actually in a coma at the hospital where I work. She took a breath. Got out of the car. Walked to the front door. Knocked. A woman answered. She was 65. Black, gray hair pulled back in a bun. Tired eyes. The look of someone who had carried a heavy weight for a very long time. Can I help you? Elena asked. Mrs. Mitchell? Maya said. My name is Maya Torres. I'm a nurse at St. Catherine's Medical Center. I need to talk to you about your husband. Elena's face went pale. My husband? James has been gone for 30 years. I know, Maya said. I think I've found him. Elena gripped the doorframe. What? Can I come in? Maya asked. I'll explain everything. Elena let her in. The house was small, clean, frozen in time, photos on the walls from the 1990s. James in his white coat, James with a baby girl. James and Elena on their wedding day. They sat in the living room. Maya told her everything. The patient in room 347, the bracelets, the propofol, the photo in his personnel file. Elena listened without interrupting. When Maya finished, she was crying, silent tears running down her face. I knew he didn't leave, Elena whispered. Everyone said he did. The police, his colleagues, even my own family. They said successful black men leave all the time. They said I should move on. But I knew James would never abandon Sophie. Never abandon me. Sophie? Maya asked. Our daughter, Elena said. She was 2 when he disappeared. She's 32 now, a civil rights lawyer. She grew up believing her father didn't love her, believing he chose to leave. Elena covered her face. How do I tell her? How do I tell her he's been 20 minutes away this whole time, that I drove past that hospital 100 times and he was inside? Maya didn't have an answer for that. She reached out, held Elena's hand. I need to know what happened. Why would someone do this to him? Elena wiped her eyes. She stood up. Wait here. She went upstairs, came back 5 minutes later carrying a box. She set it on the coffee table. Inside were notebooks, files, documents. James kept records, Elena explained. He was documenting problems at the hospital, patient care issues. He was going to report them to the medical board. Maya opened one of the notebooks. It was James's handwriting. Neat, precise. Dated entries starting in July 1993. * July 12th. Notice disparity in post-surgical infection rates. Ward C. Patients experiencing infections at 4 times the rate of Ward A patients. Reported to Chief of Surgery, Dr. Castellano. He dismissed my concerns. * July 26th. Reviewed medication logs. Ward C receiving expired medications. Brought this to Dr. Castellano's attention. He said budget constraints required using older stock for indigent patients. * August 9th. 3 deaths this month in Ward C. All post-surgical complications. All patients of color. All complications that should have been preventable with proper care. * Maya kept reading. Entry after entry. James documenting neglect. Racial disparities in care. Residents practicing procedures on black patients without consent. Expired medications. Inadequate post-operative monitoring. And every time James reported it, Dr. Castellano dismissed him, told him he was overreacting, told him to focus on his own patients. The last entry was dated October 15, 1993, 6 o'clock in the evening. * Meeting with Dr. Castellano today. Bringing all documentation, giving him one last chance to make this right. If he refuses, I'm going to the State Medical Board Monday morning. Elena, if you're reading this because something happened to me, please finish what I started. These patients deserve better. * Maya looked up at Elena. James was going to expose Dr. Castellano. That's why he disappeared. Elena nodded. The police said James's credit card was used in 3 different states after he disappeared. They said he was running. But James would never run. Someone framed him. Who is Dr. Castellano? Maya asked. He was chief of surgery, Elena said. He still works at the hospital. He's 72 now. Officially retired but still has an office there. Still consults. Maya's blood ran cold. The man who James was going to report was still at the hospital. Had been there the whole time, walking past room 347, knowing exactly what was inside. I need to go to the police, Maya said. They won't listen, Elena said bitterly. They didn't listen 30 years ago. Why would they listen now? Because I have proof, Maya said. I just need to get it. Maya needed fingerprints. If she could prove the patient in room 347 was Dr. James Mitchell, the police would have to investigate. Marcos got her a fingerprint kit from a cop friend. Told him it's for a class, Marcos said, handing her the small black case. Maya, please be careful. If you're right about this, you're dealing with someone who's been covering up a crime for 30 years. I know, Maya said. But I have to try. She went to work that night with the kit in her bag. Waited until 3 o'clock in the morning. The hospital was quiet. Most staff were doing rounds in other wings. The east wing was empty. Maya slipped into room 347. The patient was there. Sedated. Peaceful. Unaware that his entire life had been stolen. She opened the fingerprint kit, carefully pressed his fingertips to the ink pad, rolled them onto the cards, got all 10 fingers. What are you doing? Maya jumped. Spun around. Patricia Green was standing in the doorway. I was just... Maya stammered. Checking his IV? Patricia asked. Her voice was flat. That's what you told me last week, wasn't it? Maya's heart was pounding. Yes. Patricia walked into the room, looked at the fingerprint kit on the bedside table, looked at Maya. You're not like the other nurses. You ask too many questions. I just want to know who he is, Maya said quietly. Patricia stared at the patient for a long moment. His name is James Mitchell. He was a doctor here. A good doctor. Maya's breath caught. You knew? I've known for 30 years, Patricia whispered. I was here the night he disappeared. I saw Dr. Castellano wheeling a gurney down the hallway toward the morgue. The body was covered. He told me it was a John Doe for the medical school. But I saw the hand. I saw the scar from an old surgical accident. I knew it was Dr. Mitchell. Why didn't you say anything? Maya asked. Because Dr. Castellano gave me $20,000 to forget what I saw, Patricia said. Her voice was shaking. And he told me if I talked, he'd say I helped him. He'd say I was an accessory. I'd go to prison too. Patricia sat down in the chair next to the bed. I've lived with this for 30 years. Every day I walk past this room, and I know what's inside. Every day I take that blood money and I hate myself for it. Then help me now, Maya pleaded. Help me give him justice. Patricia looked up at Maya, tears in her eyes. If I talk, I lose everything. My pension, my reputation, maybe my freedom. If you don't talk, James stays here forever, Maya said. And his wife and daughter spend the rest of their lives believing he abandoned them. Patricia closed her eyes, took a long breath. What do you need me to do? Maya took the fingerprints to Marcos. He had a friend who worked in a private forensics lab. They ran the prints against James Mitchell's medical license application. Every doctor who applied for a license had to submit fingerprints. The results came back in 2 days. 99.7% match. The patient in room 347 was Dr. James Mitchell. Maya took the results to the police station, asked for the detective who had worked James's missing person case 30 years ago, Detective Sarah Quinn. She was in the cold case division now. Quinn was in her 40s. Short dark hair, sharp eyes, stacks of files on her desk. She looked at Maya with the expression of someone who had heard 1,000 crazy theories and didn't have time for another one. Miss Torres, Quinn said, gesturing to a chair. You said this is about the James Mitchell case? Yes, Maya said. She put the fingerprint results on the desk. I'm a nurse at St. Catherine's Medical Center. We have a patient who's been listed as a John Doe for 30 years. These are his fingerprints. They match Dr. James Mitchell. Quinn looked at the papers. Her expression didn't change. Where did you get these prints? I took them from the patient. Without authorization? Yes, that's illegal, Quinn stated. This evidence is inadmissible, and you could face charges for obtaining it. A man has been held prisoner for 30 years, Maya said, her voice rising. Doesn't that matter more than hospital policy? What matters is building a case that will hold up in court, Quinn replied. These fingerprints won't do that. You contaminated evidence. You accessed medical records illegally. You stole a hospital bracelet. If I bring this to a prosecutor, they'll laugh me out of the office. So you're not going to investigate? Maya asked. I didn't say that, Quinn said. I'm saying you need to stop. Right now. No more investigating. No more accessing records. No more collecting evidence. Because all you're doing is making it harder for me to build a real case. You worked this case 30 years ago, Maya said. You filed it as a voluntary disappearance. You were wrong. Quinn's jaw tightened. I know. I've thought about James Mitchell every day for 30 years. I should have pushed harder. I should have investigated deeper. But I didn't. And now I have a chance to make that right. But only if you let me do my job. How long will that take? Maya demanded. As long as it takes, Quinn said. Go home, Miss Torres. Stay away from the hospital. Stay away from Dr. Castellano. Let me handle this. Maya left the police station feeling defeated. Quinn didn't believe her. Or maybe she did believe her but didn't think she could prove it. Either way, James was still in that bed. Still sedated. Still a prisoner. And Maya couldn't accept that. Maya didn't stop. She knew she should. Quinn had told her to. Marcos had begged her to. But she couldn't. She started digging into the hospital's financial records. Who had been paying for room 347 for 30 years? The chart said, anonymous charitable donor. Maya's cousin Luis worked in IT security. She called him. Asked for help tracing the payments. Maya, that's illegal, Luis said. I could lose my job. A man is being held prisoner, Maya replied. Please. Luis sighed. He helped her. It took him 3 days. He found the records. Payments for room 347 came from a shell corporation, Castellano Medical Consulting LLC, registered to Dr. Richard Castellano. Castellano had been paying to keep James sedated for 30 years, to keep him from ever waking up, to keep the secret buried. Maya took the financial records to Quinn. These are clean. Public corporate filings, no illegal access. Quinn looked at them. Her expression changed. This is actually something I can use. So you'll investigate? Maya asked. I already started, Quinn admitted. After you came to me, I pulled the old case file. Something didn't sit right 30 years ago and it doesn't sit right now. This financial connection gives me probable cause to interview Dr. Castellano. I want to be there, Maya said. Absolutely not, Quinn replied. This is official police business. You're a civilian witness. You stay away from Dr. Castellano. That's not a suggestion. That's an order. Maya nodded. But she was already planning her next move. Maya couldn't stop thinking about Dr. Castellano. He was still at the hospital, still consulting, still walking around like he hadn't destroyed a man's life. She went back to Patricia, found her in the break room during shift change. Patricia, I need you to tell the police what you saw, Maya said. Patricia's face went pale. I can't. You have to, Maya pressed. Detective Quinn is investigating. She needs your testimony. Maya, I have 2 years until retirement, Patricia said. I have grandchildren. I can't throw my life away. James threw his life away fighting for what was right, Maya said. His daughter grew up without a father. His wife spent 30 years being judged. Don't you want to make that right? Patricia's eyes filled with tears. Of course I do, but I'm scared. I'm scared too, Maya admitted. But we have to do this anyway. Patricia wiped her eyes. If I talk to the police, will they protect me? Will they keep me safe from Castellano? I'll make sure they do, Maya promised. Patricia took a shaky breath. Okay, I'll tell them everything. Detective Quinn came to the hospital 2 days later. She interviewed Patricia in a private room. Patricia told her everything. About seeing Castellano with the gurney. About the $20,000. About 30 years of silence. Quinn recorded every word. When she was done, she looked at Patricia. Thank you for coming forward. I know this wasn't easy. What happens now? Patricia asked. Now I build a case, Quinn said. And I bring Dr. Castellano in for questioning. But Quinn didn't get the chance. Because Maya made a terrible decision. She decided to confront Castellano herself. It was a Friday evening. Most of the administrative staff had gone home. Maya went to the 4th floor. Castellano's office was at the end of the hall. The door was open, light spilling out. Maya knocked. Castellano looked up from his desk. He was 72, white hair, expensive suit, wire-rimmed glasses. He looked like someone's grandfather, not a man who had destroyed lives. Can I help you? Castellano asked. Dr. Castellano, I'm Nurse Torres from the East Wing, Maya said. Her phone was in her scrub pocket, recording everything. I need to talk to you about room 347. Castellano's expression didn't change. What about it? I know who the patient is, Maya said. I know he's Dr. James Mitchell. I know you've been keeping him sedated for 30 years. Castellano set down his pen. That's quite an accusation, Miss Torres. Do you have any proof? I have his fingerprints. I have your financial records. I have a witness who saw you that night. Castellano stood up slowly, walked to the door, closed it. Please, sit down. Let's discuss this like professionals. Maya didn't sit. She stayed near the door. There's nothing to discuss. You're going to prison. Am I? Castellano asked. Or are you going to prison for illegally accessing medical records, for stealing fingerprints, for harassing a senior physician based on nothing but wild speculation? Patricia Green saw you, Maya said. She's talking to the police right now. Castellano's composure cracked, just slightly. Patricia is a liar, an extortionist. She tried to blackmail me 30 years ago. I paid her to go away. Anything she says is tainted by that financial relationship. She's not the only one who knows, Maya said. Dr. Mitchell's wife has his journal. He documented everything. The patient deaths, the expired medications, the racial disparities in care. You were covering up negligence, and James was going to expose you. James Mitchell was a troublemaker, Castellano said coldly. He didn't understand how hospitals function. He wanted to shut down our training programs because a few patients had complications. Do you know how many surgeons we've trained in 30 years? Hundreds. Thousands of lives saved because of the education we provide here. On the backs of black patients who didn't consent to being teaching subjects, Maya shot back. They were indigent, Castellano said. Drug addicts, homeless people. They were going to die anyway. At least their death served a purpose. Maya felt sick. They were people. They deserved proper care. And James Mitchell was going to destroy this entire hospital over idealism, Castellano said, his voice rising. I tried to reason with him. I told him we'd implement changes gradually. But he wouldn't listen. He said he was going to the press, to the medical board. He was going to ruin everything. So you stopped him, Maya said. I did what I had to do, Castellano said. I called him to my office that night, told him we needed to talk. He trusted me. I injected him with propofol, told him it was a vitamin shot for his exhaustion. He collapsed. I wheeled him down to the morgue area, listed him as a John Doe found unconscious near the hospital. I've kept him sedated ever since. Why didn't you just finish it? Maya asked. Why keep him alive? Because a missing doctor raises questions, Castellano explained. A dead doctor requires investigations, autopsies. But a coma patient? No one questions that. And as long as he's technically alive, it's not considered taking a life. Maya's hands were shaking. She had it all on recording. Every word. You destroyed his life, his family's life. His family moved on, Castellano said dismissively. His wife remarried, didn't she? His daughter grew up fine. They survived. Elena never remarried, Maya said. And Sophie became a lawyer trying to find justice she never got as a child. They didn't move on. They just existed. Castellano walked toward Maya. You seem like a smart young woman. How much do you want? 50,000? 100,000? You can take that money, forget this conversation, and build a nice life. I don't want your money, Maya said. I want you in prison. Castellano's face darkened. Then you're a fool. He lunged forward, grabbed for Maya's phone in her pocket. They struggled. He was stronger than she expected. He slammed her against the wall. You think you're helping? He snarled. You're just another problem I have to solve. His hands closed around Maya's throat. She couldn't breathe. She clawed at his hands. Her phone fell to the floor. I protected this hospital for 30 years, Castellano said through gritted teeth. I'm not going to let some naive nurse destroy everything. Maya's vision was going dark. She couldn't get air. She was going to pass out. The door burst open. Detective Quinn and 2 uniformed officers rushed in. Dr. Castellano, step away from her, Quinn shouted. Castellano froze, hands still on Maya's throat. The officers pulled him off. Maya collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. Quinn knelt next to her. You okay? Maya nodded, coughing. You heard everything? Every word, Quinn said. She held up a small device. You were wearing a wire. We've been listening from the parking lot. Maya had called Quinn before coming. They'd planned this together. Quinn had wired her, told her what to say to get Castellano talking. It had worked. The officers cuffed Castellano. Quinn stood up, faced him. Dr. Richard Castellano, you're under arrest for kidnapping, attempted murder, and the murder of Dr. James Mitchell. I saved this hospital, Castellano said, his voice shaking with rage. Everything I did was for the greater good. You saved yourself, Quinn replied. And now you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. They led him away. Maya sat on the floor, hands on her throat, breathing hard. It was over. Finally over. Quinn helped her up. You did good. Reckless, stupid, but good. Is it enough to convict him? Maya asked. With his confession on tape, with Patricia's testimony, With the financial records? Yeah, Quinn said. It's enough. The next week was chaos. Media everywhere. Doctor kept colleague in coma for 30 years. Maya's face on the news. The hospital releasing statements. Castellano's lawyers filing motions. Maya hated all of it. She just wanted it to be over. But there was one thing she needed to do. She went to the hospital. Requested to see Dr. Castellano's victim. The hospital administrator tried to refuse. Quinn made a call. They let Maya into room 347. Doctors were there. They'd started reducing James's sedation. Slowly, carefully, trying to see if he could wake up after 30 years. Elena was there too, sitting next to the bed, holding James's hand. She looked up when Maya entered. Maya, Elena said, standing. She hugged her. Thank you. Thank you for not giving up. I'm sorry it took so long, Maya said. You found him, Elena replied. That's all that matters. They stood next to the bed. James's eyes were closed, the ventilator still breathing for him, but his hand twitched. Just slightly. Elena saw it. She squeezed his hand. He's in there, the doctor said. We don't know how much brain damage there is from 30 years of sedation, but he's showing responses. Sophie came later that day. She was 32, a civil rights lawyer. She looked like her father. Same determined expression, same fire in her eyes. She stood next to the bed and cried, I'm sorry I thought you left. I'm sorry I was angry at you. Elena held her daughter. They cried together. For the father and husband who had been stolen, for the 30 years of lies, for the truth that finally set them free. Dr. Castellano's trial was 6 months later. Maya testified. Patricia testified. Elena testified. The evidence was overwhelming. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced him to life without parole. You violated every oath you took as a physician. You do not deserve freedom. Castellano showed no remorse, just anger. I built this hospital. History will vindicate me. It wouldn't. 1 year after Maya found him, Dr. James Mitchell died peacefully. He never fully regained consciousness. The brain damage was too severe, but he was aware. He could blink. He could squeeze hands. Elena talked to him every day. She read him his journal, told him about Sophie's career, told him that the hospital had been investigated, that changes were being made, that his fight hadn't been in vain. The day before he passed, she read him the last entry in his journal. Elena, if you're reading this because something happened to me, please finish what I started. James squeezed her hand. Tears ran down his face. He understood. She had finished it. The funeral was held at a small church. Hundreds of people came, former patients, medical students, activists. Maya sat in the back. She felt like an intruder, but Elena saw her, called her to the front, hugged her. You gave us closure. That's a gift we can never repay. Elena gave a eulogy. My husband fought for people who couldn't fight for themselves. He died doing what was right. And because of a brave young nurse named Maya Torres, the world finally knows that. James didn't abandon us. He was taken from us, but his fight wasn't in vain. Street Catherine's Medical Center created the Dr. James Mitchell Center for Medical Ethics. Ward C was completely renovated. An independent oversight board was established. Racial disparities in patient care were publicly acknowledged and addressed. Patricia retired with her pension intact. She testified willingly at the trial. She started a foundation for healthcare whistleblowers. Maya left Street Catherine's. She now works for a patient advocacy nonprofit. She investigates cases of medical negligence in marginalized communities. Sophie and Elena scattered James's ashes in the hospital garden. There's a plaque. Dr. James Mitchell, a healer, a fighter, a father, gone but never forgotten. Maya visits sometimes, leaves, flowers, reads the inscription. One day, a young nursing student approached her. Excuse me, are you Nurse Torres, the one who found Dr. Mitchell? I am, Maya said. I just wanted to say thank you. You inspired me to go into nursing. I want to help people like you did. Maya smiled. Then don't ever stop asking questions. And don't ever let anyone tell you to stay quiet. She walked away. The sun was setting over the hospital. The building looked different now. Cleaner, better, changed. Dr. James Mitchell fought for 30 years to be heard. It took 30 more for his voice to finally reach us. But it did. And because it did, things changed. That's what justice looks like. Not quick, not easy, but inevitable, as long as someone cares enough to keep fighting. Thank you for watching.